How are we all doing? Are you sure? I can see some faces are not looking brightening. What's the problem? What? You need kinky. Well, I'm very happy to see all of you here today. I would say it's like a dream come true because I've always been passionate to help people. I've always loved to do whatever I can to put smiles on people's faces. And this grooming hub I created, the AS Grooming Hub, is a dream. I'll say that the AS Grooming Hub was created for the youth, basically for the youth, to help them in career and business development as well as personal development. I've always loved to help people, and growing up, my status exposed me to interacting with people who wanted to get into career or business. And I realized that a lot of people didn't know much about what they wanted to get into. I realized that some people wanted to get into businesses and careers that they had no knowledge about. And because of my status, all the things I went through, the pageantry, the modeling and all that, it gave me some experience, and because of that, people looked up to me. And most people used to come to me, asking me questions, wanting advice. And I used to coach young people, especially ladies, about modeling, beauty pageants and all that. And then I realized that it was growing, the numbers were growing. Like I could get a lot of people entering my DMs, asking me questions about modeling, about career, even things that I had no knowledge about. Let's say someone comes to me, I want to do this career. Meanwhile, I'm not really into that. And then I thought about it, since the numbers were growing, even though I was coaching them individually, I said, why don't I find a way or means that I could reach out to more people to help? And that's why I created the Grooming Hub, where I could reach out to a lot of people to mentor them, advise them, so that at least people could go to school, and before they come out of school, they know what they are doing. They are able to, they have knowledge about whatever they want to take up as careers or businesses. So I'll say, as I sit here today, I give thanks to the Almighty God for making my dream come true. I'll say this is the first time I'm meeting some of you. I've discussed a lot of things with most of you on our WhatsApp groups, and I know a lot of you have learned a lot of things. Like some of you send me messages telling me, oh, I've been able to start this because of what you've been telling me, and I've really got so much fulfillment and happiness in that. And I pray that we will grow along so that we can make this nation a great one, and we can all become productive youths. So as I sit here today, I want to tell everybody that no matter what you want to do, you can achieve it. But first of all, you have to know who you are. You have to discover yourself. And because of the era we are in, social media, people are rather following other people's dreams. People are doing what others are doing because they admire it. But you have to know who you are. Everyone was created in a unique way. We are all here for a different purpose. If someone is into acting, it doesn't mean that that's where you also fit, or that's where you are supposed to be. Probably you are supposed to do something else. You have to know your talent. You have to know the skills you possess. You have to know what's different about you and not follow what others are doing. You shouldn't be pressurized by what you see on social media. So I believe as I grow with all of you with this Grooming Hub, we'll be able to discover who we really are, what we possess, and how we can use it to better our lives, and how we can use it to develop our careers and businesses. So I'll also say welcome again to our first AS Meet and Greet. I hope we all have fun, and I hope we all get educated and inspired as well. Yeah, thank you.
It's always an honor to share moments like this, or moments like this with anybody, everybody, and so I count myself blessed to be here, and I think that she deserves another round of applause for the initiative. I think that at this age, I mean, one of the things that we should learn to do is share. Our experiences may not be exact, but they're similar. People can draw from those experiences and also pave their own paths and ways. I do better when I post questions, so probably I'll do a little talk and then you do the question. But I think the one thing that's been on my mind, on my heart, is the subject social media. And I think that for the most part, I look at it as a blessing and a curse at the same time, just like any other thing. I think that for this era, especially young people, are not taking or maximizing the blessing that comes with social media. And I think that we mostly concentrate in how to show the world our natural features and how good we look, and limit it to the kind of food we're having and tell the world about it. But I think that there's more to it. I'm not saying that, scrap all that, but I'm saying that the focus shouldn't be that. I think that in this age, the people who are maximizing it in building their brands, in letting the world know what the unique talents and gifts are, what they can do. And people are making money just by, they put something and it's people are monetizing it, they're looking at their bank account. Okay, well, you have that same opportunity and platform, same hours, and you were just showing your curved bodies and stuff. I mean, I'm saying that, yeah, you can let the world appreciate the fact that God created you special, but I'm saying that shouldn't be the focus. For us, it's for an opportunity to maximize it in showing of what we have that we can offer, that in turn may not only be a blessing to other people, but it brings us money. Okay, so and one thing that you shouldn't forget is that the internet never forgets. That's something that we should never joke with. Whatever choices you make with regards to whatever you post out there, if you're provoked and push to the wall and you don't have self-control and you say nasty things or post certain things, it's recorded for eternity. You delete it on your device, but then it's stored somewhere. Tomorrow, wherever that tomorrow may be, you may maybe Trump is no more there. You're a senator, and then somebody you have a influential position, and then somebody digs your history. I don't know how they do it, but they dig up stuff and then they show you what you posted some years back, and that can ruin your chances. Your chances not just to elevate yourself to another position, but being an influential person that can impact so many lives with the uniqueness that you have. And so let's be careful about the things that we post, more conscious and responsible for them, because they will come to haunt us or to exonerate us, and so we shouldn't forget that.
Adjetey and I, we meet a lot on the circuit, but I want you to share with everybody here what inspired you to pursue your dreams. I'm sure when you're in London, people come up to you in the streets, New York, Accra, and I'm sure when you were young, like these folks, you probably didn't think you could. What inspired you? How did you keep on driving at that? In relation to what Araba is saying about pursuing your dreams.
Well, so there are a number of things. I think that I think I felt as I remember, in the beginning, acting was not something that I thought, I'd be in an industry I would find myself in. It was, even though my interest was with movies, always, amazed and intrigued about how people would transform characters that they are not in real life, so well. But that was it. I never saw myself, some years down the line going in front of the camera, because I was a bit timid. I did more of the listening than the talking. I did more of observation, and so definitely not. But I guess that when during in school I had the opportunity to play some parts and roles in your amateurish kind of productions in school, Easter's plays and Christmas plays. And the feedback I was getting was more like, wow, that was good, and I didn't even realize it, because as far as I was concerned, I was just trying to depict characters that I've seen or I'd seen over the years in movies and trying to behave like them believably. But then this, commendations kept coming in, and as at the time where I wasn't too sure what I wanted to become or what I wanted to do in the future, because my dad was a biochemist, And he kept dropping hints of me towing the sciences, you know. But I looked at his life, I thought it was a bit boring. It was just work, home, work, home, work, home, no social life. Hardly, we'll visit relatives, it's hardly there. He comes and drops us and is off to work. And I thought that was a bit boring. I wanted something much more, you know, defining. And so science didn't really encourage me. And so still wasn't sure. And then I said, why not? These combinations are coming in. I had opportunity at the National Theatre. And then I went in there and I was taking on, I was employed. And then it started dawning on me, oh, okay, things are falling in place, things are falling like, perhaps maybe this is where. And the thing is, I found fulfillment. You know, there's something that was so much relaxed after each performance or, you know, session. I'm like, wow, that felt really good. I mean, even though I didn't really consider the money aspect then. But then on, I was like, okay, so if this is it, it's enough to have talent, but that is not all. I think that your ability to have a skill or training in whatever particular field that you are gifted in gives you an edge over the other. Because when you walk down the street today, you'll have a lot of talent. But as to whether they are skilled and well trained is another issue. So then I said, look, why don't I go to school and let's see what happens. But then, just then, I just began to find that I was more attached to or sensitive to youth issues and youth matters. And I started from home. Some of my cousins and family, young guys, and the kind of choices that they were making. And even though I found it very difficult to reach out to them because I didn't want backlash. And so normally if I'd encourage them to watch movies that I've done that are on similar subjects, etc., speaking to them indirectly. And I found that that's one way in which I could reach a whole number of people. And therefore, it also gave me an insight into not just doing anything, therefore, you know, being a bit selective and choosy on the subject areas and the matters, because for me, it is not just personal fulfillment, but how do my works impact someone out there who is struggling with an issue that the subject matter of the film is treating. And so that's where it began for me. And I've been inspired a lot by a lot of happenings around the youth arena, how people are frustrated to fit in, and that's one thing that you should never forget. Don't be frustrated trying to fit in. You're not made to fit in. As Araba indicated earlier on, we all have unique abilities, and ours is to bring it to the fore. And so that if there's even a culture being practiced, yours is either to improve that culture or change it totally. I remember when I came out from school, there was a culture in the film industry where everybody's supposed to toe a certain line, or this is how we do it. Okay, and then I come and I'm like, okay, theory and practice are not, running parallel. There's something wrong. And the thing is that you realize that people do is just ignorance. We've done it this way, it's worked for us, but there's another way that we can have better results and faster. And then you introduce that. I remember when I came on set the first day, before I came on set the first day, I was given a script like today, and I was expected to start shoot tomorrow. I'm like, geez, how is that what you do? And they're like, yeah, that's what you're an actor, you should be able to do it. I'm like, really? Because that's not what I know. If you're giving me a script today for me to do tomorrow, it won't happen. Okay, so I didn't go in and say that, look, if you don't give me 3 weeks, I won't do it. That's not how you change things. You go in there to negotiate. There's a culture, people have formed a habit over a period of time. You have to negotiate and then gradually make that impact. So I'll go like, oh, Charlie, I need a week. They're like, what, a week? Blah, blah. They'll talk, then finally they'll agree. But I have sowed that seed already. Next producer is like, hey, if you give me the script, 1 week, 2 weeks, so they are prepared. Okay, so then they'll give me that advance. And gradually people realize that, oh, some people can really get a script and perform a week after or 2 weeks. That change has started happening. What it meant was, it's not because I wanted to feel different, but what the message I wanted to send across is that if we do not have time to research into the roles that we play, we'll be doing shoddy work, and mediocrity is going to continue to thrive. Because you need that time frame to be able to research into the character that you're playing, to understand the story, your character, and do all that that's supposed to do, so that you give, you give that skeletal frame some meat, as it were. I mean, when you look at the ideal scenario of the Western world, and people get their scripts a year ahead of time, 2 years, at least you have 6 months. I mean, you talk about those Lord of the Rings, and people are getting their scripts 1 year ahead of time. I mean, it gives them no excuse, because they have a year to prepare. If you have to build muscles, you have a year. If you have to go on a diet, if you have to learn swordsmanship, so that when you come out in the movie, you're a sword master, you need that time to prepare. And therefore, you see the end product, and you're like, wow, they're not magicians. They're not. They just are respecting certain principles. And so we need to do that as well. So don't be forced into a scenario where this is how we do it. What are your innovations? What are the things that you're bringing to fore onto the table, so that we can feel and experience your uniqueness? And so that has been some of the things, coupled with the fact that the youth issues that has inspired me and kept me going.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adjetey.
A question. I'm going to relate it to entertainment, in as much as those here, not just entertainers, are here. So I want to ask, how are you able to handle the stigma that comes with the job of an actor? For example, I'm currently facing the face because I played a very unique character in some of my training projects, and people rather tag me to that particular character. So as an entertainer, how are you able? I think that also flows to every other career. If you're a politician, they say, oh, you're corrupt. If you're a policeman, oh, you take bribe. So how do we handle the stigma that comes with our career choice?
Practice, but I think one of the things is, and I'll speak to my experience, for example, in the days of Things to Do for Love, when I was practically, pushed out everywhere I turned. It came with a certain perception that for someone to play a character like that, would have some similarities with himself as a person, as an individual. And so people found it very difficult to believe when they saw me. I mean, I think the first time that, one of the first days that I stepped in church, I was very conscious of myself. I mean, those days I was just following mommy and daddy, but now when I became very conscious of myself, people were wondering, hey, what are you doing here? I'm like, wow. And they didn't think of the question, and they just came out, and as if I don't belong in this space. And then they go like, "What do you fellowship?" I said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Oh, wow, that's great," that kind of thing. And so this perception that, okay, there's a bad boy, you shouldn't be here, you don't belong here, as it were. And so there was a conscious effort not for me to be tagged as such, and so I moved away from roles like that, because I kept having roles, the pusher kind of roles, and I said, no, I'm not. I think I'm good enough to be limited with the pusher character, and so I wanted to try other characters, other roles, and then I plunged into other roles, and I'd made a statement with that already. But then one of the things that you do is a conscious thing that you do, that people see the other side. But then again, also you can also stick to what what to do best. I mean, it'll be very, very. I've always cited an example where, if you know the character Mr. Igbo, we've seen him play a lot of comic roles, and one day you have a movie that begins, the opening scene, camera enters the Oval Office or the Flagstaff House, and we see the back of this character. He's supposed to be the president of this country, and then he turns and it's Mr. Igbo in three-piece suit. I mean, it's a serious subject matter, and people are going to be laughing before he says a word. So there is also the quest for us to prove people wrong, that, look, even though I'm known for this, I can still play this seriously, and change the perception. Stigmatization, you can't totally erase, just like corruption. I mean, you can minimize how you reach out, and that's why for me, platforms like this, I always take the advantage, because there's this much that the movie can do, but what of your life as well. And so, for example, when I bring the situation where the character and skill should go together, you can be the best at something and your character is suspect, because in those times when Luis Suarez was biting everything, I mean, I'm sure the coaches, when a match begins, they're in a dilemma as to, Charlie, this guy, nobody should have set him to bite because we're going to lose, one man, and that could cost us. Balotelli, very short-tempered. Somebody would want to, like, when you go provoking, he provokes, he gets a red card, that's an advantage to us. So you can be the best at something, but you must tally that with your character. Because today, corporate organizations around the world are looking for personalities who are skillful and more like amongst the best in their field, but also a character that they can align their products with. Because they want to reach out to a whole lot of the masses out there. You don't want to feature somebody who is so controversial that a certain part of the population will be like, oh, they have aligned their products. I'm not going to buy that medicine again or whatever it is again. So character and skill should go hand in hand, and then when you blend that too, it also helps break down some of these stigma that comes along with it. But it's a daily kind of thing. It's never, you never come to a point where like, oh, I've arrived, and so that's how I have been able to deal with this.